put a romantic connotation to that song, and it has one meaning. But if we're talking about the big kind of love, the love no matter what, the love of life, the love that does not have an opposite, does anybody feel like maybe they've shut themselves in, sort of turned themselves off, closed the windows, locked all the doors because we're afraid and we're just sort of tight? Talk about what happens when we actually open up to see that there's more to life. The blind can see that there's more to life, and let that magic in that lets us remember to love the life we're living, to have joy, to have hope, to have a sense of peace around our current experience. Life on life's terms, it'll be a lot better if life on my terms. Yeah. Life on life's terms. So today we're talking about holy love. Holy love. Not that beautiful hearts and flowers and chocolate candy Valentine love. That's good too. That's good too. But today we're talking about this holy love, this sacred love, this love without an opposite, this love that knows how to love even if, no matter what. And during this holiday season, we light the Advent candles and intentionally bring forward these qualities, this quality of love today. And what I know about the holidays, there's something special because there's this collective energy on the planet this time of year. Lots of different religious traditions celebrate light, celebrate love, celebrate rebirth, celebrate all kinds of things. And so this collective energy on the planet has this lovingness about it. It really does. And so today we've chosen, as we have for the last almost 15 years, chosen to light the quality of love during this season, to bring that into our experience here, to take it out, to celebrate that quality, to honor that quality, because it's a divine quality. It's a divine quality. And what we know is when we have this loving energy, there's a sense of healing, like Stacy said, there's this, I guess it was Jackie, this healing, this harmony, this beauty that comes forward when we're feeling this loving energy, see? But we got to intend to remember the importance of this in our lives, see? To remember how important love really is. Sometimes we forget because we're kind of blocked. We've got stuff going on in our lives. Anybody got stuff going on? Anybody have relationships in your family that aren't working real well? Anybody experienced any recent losses? Anybody having financial difficulties? Anybody's body hurt? See, stuff happens. Stuff happens. And we've got to remember these qualities that we want to bring forth, that we want to surround ourselves with. Every single one of us comes into the world with a divine spark of love. God is love. And if we believe what we say, that we are a divine spark of what God is, then that means we're love too, doesn't it? It means we're love too. God's love and so am I. And guess what? My job is to embody it, to express it, and to remember that I too am lovable, to remember my own loveliness. That's really important because, anybody a fan of RuPaul, he says if you can't love yourself, how are you going to love anybody else? You got to make sure that you have a sense of your own loveliness, see? So it's a choice that we make to express our love out to the world. And these holidays that we are all experiencing, this beautiful lights and decorations and the sparkle of this holiday, the cookies and the parties and the special meals and all this stuff, this is a window of opportunity to remember the things that are important to us, to remember our loveliness, to remember to be loving, to remember that love is a possibility. And when we're in that space, it takes us out of our little sorrowful, sad, closed-in place. I've been there for quite a while now, what's going on in my life, and it takes a lot of effort to intend to be bigger than that, and to open the windows and to let that love light in and to let it shine out. See? It helps me remember who I am when I remember that I am that I am that loving spark. And you know what I know? There's no little me, there's no little you. We've all got the same amount of love. Doesn't matter what's going on in our lives. We've all got that same amount of love quotient. We just need to let it shine. We just need to let it come out. Chuck didn't get any more love than I did. Chuck isn't more loving than I am. We've all got the same amount. But what happens is sometimes we forget that. And we close ourselves off. And we're unskillful. But it does never change the fact that we are that. We have that capacity to be that loving energy, no matter what. Carolyn May says in her book, Invisible Acts of Power, there is no such thing as an insignificant act of love. However it shows up, whether it shows up in bringing a box of dog biscuits for the animal shelter, whether it shows up as treating your community to a plate of cookies for hospitality, smiling at someone, saying good morning, saying Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, remembering to reach out. There's no act of love that's insignificant. There isn't anything that's insignificant. The problem is, and that's why I picked this image, this is kind of my life right now. This is kind of, my heart's kind of frozen, right? The problem is we need to thaw out. We need to thaw out, let life melt us a little bit. Let us get a little bit softer. See, sometimes we're kind of frozen by life circumstances, by what's going on in the world, in politics, in other countries, in our bodies, in our families. We get frozen and we die a little bit. We die just a little bit when we're forgetting that love is possible, that love is a part of this experience. And when we remember, it gets a little warmer, doesn't it? It gets a little bit warmer. Linda talks about that icy cold thing that happens sometimes when we're frozen in fear. That icy cold sadness, that loneliness, that anger, that fear that crops up when we focus on all the things that are not going the way we'd like them to go, right? When other people are not behaving the way we want them to behave. When we experience losses, when we don't feel good, see. We have to be able, no matter what, within all those circumstances, to allow love to touch us deeply, to thaw ourselves enough to soften us, to melt us, so that we can rekindle that love light within ourselves. That's where it is. It's within. It's within. And in this cold, stormy world that sometimes swirls around, it's hard to remember that. I've told this story before in this community, so if you've heard it, you're going to hear it again. One of my favorite teachers is Thich Nhat Hanh. And one of his favorite stories that he tells as a teaching is about being in a storm in the forest and taking a walk, and everything was just fine, and then all of a sudden the storm hits. Ever have that happen? Things seem just dandy, and all of a sudden the storm hits. Unexpected, lightning, thunder, rain, stuff, the storm hits. And in this story, Thich Nhat Hanh turns around and runs back home to the Hermitage. We focused a lot today on home. That place within, that safe place. Turns around, runs back home. Now when he gets there, the storm has sort of disrupted home. The shutters are flapping, the door's open and the rain is coming in, the papers are blowing all around, everything's getting messed up. The first thing that he does is secure the home. shut the shutters, shut the door, doesn't pick up the papers. But what he does next is the important thing. He lights the fire in the fireplace and makes the tea. See, that's what we're called to do. We've got to take care of bringing in the warmth to light that fire within us when this storm of life is knocking us all around. And then everything takes care of itself. Then we find that place of peace. Then we find that place of hope. Then we find that place where we can actually let our love blossom forth. And remember our own loveliness, see? Everything takes care of itself once we start to get a little bit warmer. But this is the deal. We got to take action. We can't just sit around and wait for it to happen. You know what the Quakers say? Pray and move your feet. Take action. Take action. Don't wait for something else to happen to light your love fire. You have to take that responsibility. You take that responsibility to acknowledge that it's important to you to bring love into your life. Now, when I say love, I'm talking about some qualities that you might not think about. I'm talking about some qualities you might not think about when you think about love. Things like being patient, being tolerant, being accepting. See, love is very complicated. It really is. It's simple, but it's not easy. It's not easy. Anytime that you're honest, you're respectful, you're honoring, you support each other, you're compassionate and caring, that's love. Those are loving things. Anytime you're thinking about someone else, that's love. All these things, appreciate someone or something. All of that is about loving energy. But don't wait for someone else to light your fire. Don't wait for something else to bring that to you. Make that intention to make that an organizing principle of your life. See? And when you're in pain, and when you're in fear, and when you're frozen, it's not easy to open up, to take the risk, to allow that love to be part of your experience. See? We're never not full of love. You know, we think if our partner leaves or we experience a death in our family or whatever that thing looks like, that love has gone away. That's not true. That's just not true. We're never not full of love. We're never not surrounded by love. We can love anyway. Doesn't have to be specific. Doesn't have to depend on any one thing. See? That no matter what kind of love anyway, nothing you say or do can make me stop loving you. That kind of love, that's big love. That's really big love. That sort of no agenda kind of love. So we have to be able to melt ourselves, that hardness around us enough to let our hearts open so that we can allow the energy of love to provide that holiness that we are to express in the world. The truth is, love just is. God is, love is. Love is a divine power. It's really hard to define because it's energy. Do you know when you're around a loving person? Do you know when someone is expressing a loving energy? Do you know what that looks like? Do you know what that feels like? Do you know when you're that? Do you know what it feels like when you're not? When you're all tight and you're angry and you're fearful and you're resentful and you're judgmental? Do you know what that feels like? Yeah. It's an energy, see? We know what that is. And really what it is we've got to put love first on the list. We've got to make it the first thing. How does it show up? A jillion different ways. It shows up in acknowledging someone, in really seeing them. It shows up in appreciating each other. So we have to ask ourselves, how well do I love? How often do I show appreciation for someone or something? How often do I literally show appreciation for the beauty of the world, for the beauty of the universe? How often do I allow myself to be generous and kind when I don't really want to be? Yeah. And this is the deal. Sometimes we're afraid we can't measure up, we don't have enough. Too much has gone on in our lives and we're just, not gonna put that tree up. By the way, I put a tree up this year. I talked about that a couple of weeks ago. I didn't really want to tell you the truth. But that was one of the ways that I decided to bring love into my home during the holidays. See, the beauty of the Christmas tree. Never not had a Christmas tree just because I've experienced all these losses. Darn, Christmas is just too hard this year. Well, you know what? That little tree helped. The beauty of that tree helped. That's what I'm talking about. Creating beauty is love. Making cookies and sharing them. That's love. That's love, see? I'm doing just fine. I'm doing just fine. I got enough love to go around, even though all the people that I'd like to love are not here. So, I got to remember that I came in here with this divine spark of holy love. I'm that. And it's my job to let that shine, to be part of my life. So I got to ask myself, do I need to thaw out a little bit? Do I need to soften a little bit? Do you? Are there parts of your experience where you need to get a little softer and a little more open? You melt a little bit? Yeah, you know what? Life on life's terms is a bugger. It really is sometimes. But if you soften to it, it's a little easier. What do I need to do? How do I warm myself up? Get a tree. How do I embody what I want to live? How do I take the right actions to actually wake my life up to the love that I know I am, to the love that I know everybody else is and that life is? How do I do that? What's it going to take? What do I need to do that doesn't depend on somebody else doing it for me? I got to do it for myself. It's an inside job. Can't wait for somebody else to rekindle my spark. I got to do that myself. I got to do that myself. So I got to ask myself, how can I love and how can I love well? And I'm talking about the kind of love that's a no matter what kind of love. Thank you for listening.